right, I have returned. Out the music a little bit. All right, so why aren't things working? That is the question. So we have our mixer script that is theoretically, it's getting the bus, really the bus index, I guess, really. Let's rename. Where's my, oh, there it is. Should be something like bus index, I think. And we'll do the same here and here just for consistency's sake. And maybe let's make a little helper function. I don't like that duplication. So set bus level. It's gonna take a bus name and a level, and it's going to do these things. Take a level. And then a bus name. This is maybe I should figure out why it's not working before I do this. But on the other hand, what if I do this first and then figure it out? Let's see. Music. Effects. There we go. So let's add a print here. Plus, yeah. We'll do this part. And we'll move that up above so we can see the value before we change it. And then double check that. And so what we should be able to see when we run, go back to the mixer, we run that scene. Okay. So we get some initial values, right? So the values that we load when the game loads, master volume 100%, music volume 16%, effects volume 0. So the process of loading the game causes actually, here's a thought. Potentially some of this logic does need to live in mixer persistence. Yes. Let me think about this for a second. Like this audio set bus volume linear, and the lookups probably need to be here, because so this node and this script get run when the game starts, but this stuff doesn't get run until you open the dialog when you go to that setting option in the menu. So think about this for a second. Oh, also let's see, this is also wrong. Think about this for a second. What do I want to do here? I should do audio levels, bus name dot lower to lower. Yeah. Equals level. So I'm cheating. I'm taking advantage of the fact that the name in the dictionary is essentially the same thing as what I've called the buses, except it's all lowercase. So we can access it that way. But I wonder if it might make more sense to move this. Yeah. And then do like, we'll just use this mixture persistence here. And we'll move that logic there. And we'll have all of this like logic that interacts with the buses that may or may not be correct in this class. And then we just say this and we can reference ourselves that way. Okay. Let's see. I think what I want to do is I'm going to split this into a separate function. Yeah, we're going to do like a push bus level, which is just going to take the bus name, and we are going to say var level. Yep. So we're gonna get the audio, the intended audio level from our dictionary. Put that in level. Can't do further. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna take that value, divide it by 100. So we have a value between 0 and 1, and then cool. Here, push bus level. Right. So we are updating the dictionary, telling it to save out to the file, and then updating the audio server mixer. In ready, what we want to do is we want to load the audio levels, and then we want to apply them to the mixer. Okay, so that takes care of an issue that we haven't even seen yet. Let's see what it's done so far, though. Right, so set bus level of music to 16, so it's looking at the music. And it's saying, hey, it should be set to 16%. It says the current bus level is 1.0. Current bus index is 2. New bus level 0.16. And then effects 0. Interesting. Oh, right, but I didn't change master. Here we go. Okay, cool. That doesn't really help me, though. Understand why it's not working. Right, so if I run the scene again. Okay, let's do this. Let's run the game. And what I want to test is, let's just turn off all the audio. So we'll turn everything to 0. Done. Start. Oh, hey, no effects, no music. So that works. I can't change the audio in game. So if I turn the master back up, should still be no effects and no music. Okay. So why is the bounce? Is this an issue where maybe I didn't configure the let's see here. It's scenes, main scene, bounce sounds. Ah, it's on the master bus. It's supposed to be in the effects bus. That's why. Let's restart. And then we'll go into audio. So we have everything turned down and masters up. So if I hit start, so we shouldn't hear the bounce sound. We shouldn't hear the score sound, and we shouldn't hear the music. Assuming the AI succeeds in bouncing that, I'll let this score on me so we can hear the aha. So score sound also needs to be on the effects bus. So if I run this now, that change, we go to audio. Let's turn up the music. Should you hear music? I can't tell. Hold on, let me pause the stream music for a sec. Oh, it's there and it's quiet. Cool. But no effects. I'll let it score on me just to double check that we succeeded. Yeah, cool. All right, in-game audio. We turn up effects. We turn up music, and then if I turn off master and start, then this should be the same. Well, we shouldn't hear anything. No bounce, correct? No score, no music. Checks out. All right, if I go back to audio and I turn everything back up and I start, we have background music, we have bounces, oops. Okay, well I think that will score on the AI because the AI can't, oh, it got lucky. Usually these kind of bounces, the AI focuses on chasing it rather than looking at where it will likely be. Okay, cool, we got the effect. All right, we did it. Okay, so back to the plan. Audio mixer, we did it. Yipper. Oops. Cool. So, next is UI button tween. I have to remember what this is about. I mean, I know what it was about. I just like how to do it. Oh, stop the game. So if we go to the main menu, how is this supposed to work? It's funny. I mentioned at the top of the stream, I have been looking at a lot of Godot and also game art videos as I've been thinking about, obviously, doing this stream and future streams, and eventually the game or games that I want to work on for real, not just for practice. And one of the things I saw was this thing where you can have kind of a more interactive UI. It's like something that would be you would do like on a web page as well, like having a hover over effect, right? But how do we do that? So input, focus, tooltip. Was there some hook here? I'm trying to remember. Let's do this. Let's Godot button hover tween. There's a bunch of videos. How to tween transition between button states, creating hover triggered images and buttons. Here's a page I've been on. Oh, signals. Yeah. Signals. Mouse entered and mouse exited. But there's actually... yeah. Right. Yes. Now this looks familiar to me. You create a tween. You set a property. Callback sprite that. Oh, okay, I see. Yes. I think I know what to do. Thinking. Do we need to create a script for each button? Let's just try something. Let's do in our UI folder. We'll just make a button script. Cool. And then I think we want to say something like func. Is there just a thing that we can intercept here? Or do we actually have to hook a signal to it? Enter tree, exit tree. Pass point. Notification pressed. Okay. So we want something where we mouse enter. I want to do something like that, but we want to do something where we say var tween. And then we say if tween the way I've seen it done is like tween.kill, and then we create a new tween. Again, the way I've seen it done is like get node dot create tween and then scale. Yeah, that's something. What are the actual parameters here? Object self property is scale. We want to change the scale of the button. The final value is that vector, and the duration is tween duration. And tween was the other property, other argument for tween property. There isn't one. We had an example, right? Oh, get tree, create tween, not get node, get tree. Export var tween duration. So we have this button script, and we go back to here. Suddenly we have a property. If I save this and run this scene, it does nothing because I haven't hooked up to that function yet. And we also want a on mouse exit. Exactly. Do we want to go the other way? Do we want to like... We want to scale. Well, we'll see how this behaves. We might need separate values for this. So... Ooh. I I guess if I want this to be really easy to hook up, I do want to have like a ready function to connect signals. I'm pretty sure I don't want to do that. And connect doesn't work this way. Signal is the signal name. Callable is callable. Flag. So really what we want to do is we just something like this maybe? Is that actually the name of the signal though? Control has mouse entered and mouse exited. Yep. So if I run this, it does a thing. The issue is probably the anchoring of the control. Well, then if I go back to I stop the game, stop the scene. Don't want to do that. Undo. Position, pivot, offset. By default, the node's pivot is its top left corner. When you change its rotation or scale, it will rotate or scale around this pivot. Set this property's size over 2 to pivot around the control center. So we want to set the pivot offset. Set the pivot. Point to the center of the button. Yeah. Maybe that is actually valid code. Fingers crossed. Nope. It's a lie. Okay, so that's advice there. Size over 2. Can we do that? Can we divide a vector in this manner? I'm gonna find out. Did it work? I can't tell. Okay. All right, control. Pivot offset. So this property size over 2. Yeah, so can we just we don't need to call it like a method, right? We can just do this, yes? Let's check something here. See if this works. Run that scene. $25.5, 14. Seems not right. So presumably what happens after ready is the node's size gets updated. I guess we do something where we say, hey, unless there's a let's see, property process set can draw feature tree. Resize. Sure. Then we just connect that. Yeah. It was resized, right? Yeah. Okay. Maybe this will work. Huh? Okay. The button gets bigger. Amazing. Hold on. Okay, so what we should do here is we should have another export var scale. Now it should be like 1 point. Do we want? I don't know. This could be just like a float. It'll be like 1.1. It can't be scale because there's already something called scale there. Let's call it tween scale. And we'll just gonna make a vector that has that in both directions. Sure. And we'll save. That. And we want to scale back, we can just use original scale. Okay. So now, if I want it to be bigger, oh, that is live. That's cool. Isn't that cool? Although that doesn't take into account the interesting. Let's run that again. Okay, it worked. Okay, so that was just an interaction with saving and or not reloading the runtime. That's a little big. Might not want to be that big. And I might actually want to be able to change the resizing in different directions. You can also make that faster or slower and make it happen over a long period of time. And the other thing I can do is if I just apply the script to the other buttons, there's not like a bulk option to do that, is there? I guess really the thing to do would be like make a custom button node, or just to make a scene that is my kind of button and then convert these or something. But if I just want to do this, I can just attach the same script, right? So I just need to go up to UI, button, open, grab that, load. Just gonna flip that over, attach script. So I can do this pretty quickly. Of course, if I wanted to actually have any kind of custom scripting for each of these buttons, then that would be problematic with doing it this way. But whatever. So now if I stop and I run the scene, then we should see the effect in question. That's fun. Isn't that fun? Anyway. I just wanted to mess around with that a little bit. So, back to our list of things to do. We did that. So, bigger issue. Game viewport scale issues. So, I think the UI scale thing should not be a big deal. There's probably some setting that we can override to just like make all the UI elements bigger, maybe, assuming I've used containers correctly. The bigger issue is that if we launch the game, and I showed this kind of at the beginning, right? Of like, in fact, let's launch it as a separate window because it's a little bit easier to see what's going on there. Right, so this is just kind of the default. Oh, that was a mistake. Don't shake windows in Windows because then it just minimizes everything. Give me a minute while I recover all of the windows. Ugh. And then OBS is like, I forgot how I'm laid out. Please resize everything. Discord and pretzel and my key map. Okay, great. And the game is somewhere in here. There it is. Okay. So anyway, so I mean, I can resize the game window, and this works for the UI. Although that you can imagine it's kind of a small UI. But if I hit start, hey, what's going on? What's up with this? Why did the ball start where it did? It didn't start in kind of the area of the canvas. What's going on with that? So yeah. And why is... Well, I think I know why. So let's take a look at the scenes, right? So the main menu scene is this guy. And so let's take a look at main menu. This node doesn't have a control parent, it's true. Anchor preset full rect. So like the UI is just set to take up the whole screen and it just works. But if we look at the main scene, so this is the actual like game scene, right? It has a root node that is a node 2D. Is there... What does view do? Oh, I see. Neat. Preview canvas scale. Ah, what does that do? Preview canvas scale. Gizmos. Grid. Show helpers. What are helpers? Doesn't appear to do anything. Anyway, how do we make things here do what we want? I think in project settings there's something. Project settings, general, display, window. Resizable. If true, allows the window to be resizable by default, so we're allowing that. Mode is windowed. Alright, so what did that say? It says game embedding is available only in windowed mode versus like minimize, maximize full screen, exclusive full screen. That is another thing that I probably want to be able to provide options for at some point in my menu is like game resolution and mode. It's a very common setting. Stretch. So, defines how the base size is stretched to fit the resolution of the window or screen. So, we are currently disabled. No stretching happens. 1 unit in the scene corresponds to 1 pixel on the screen. In this mode, display window stretch aspect is no effect. Recommended for non-game applications. Canvas items. The base size specified in the width and height in the project settings, so that's the up above. Taking the aspect setting into account. It is, so the base size is stretched to cover the whole screen. This means that everything is rendered directly at the target resolution. 3D is unaffected, while in 2D, there's no longer a one-to-one correspondence between sprite pixels and screen pixels, which may result in scaling artifacts. Recommended for most games that don't use a pixel art aesthetic, although it's possible to use the stretch mode for pixel art games too, especially in 3D. Viewport. The size of the root viewport is set precisely to the base size specified in the project settings display section. The scene is rendered to this viewport first. Finally, this viewport is scaled to fit the screen. Recommended for games that use pixel art aesthetic. Okay. So I'm curious about that. This is not exactly a pixel art game, but I feel like that's a good place to search for things, and I'm curious about that. So let's set it to viewport. That is going to do not a lot because we don't have a so what happens if I make that setting and then I rerun the game but I don't have a viewport? So that effectively is the same thing as the stretch. So now can I go? There we go. And it bounces on the edges. Okay. I guess technically that works. I do want to add a viewport to see what that does. I won a round. Where's the ball? It feels like there should be a ball on the screen. Ah, okay, cool. So let's add a viewport. So a sub-viewport is an interface to a game world that doesn't create a window or draw to the screen directly. Okay. Why can't I... Hold on. So a window... So maybe I do want the other option. It doesn't seem like I want... Huh. Abstract base class for viewports encapsulates drawing and interaction with the game world. Yeah. Sub-viewport. Display a UI in 3D space, sure. Interesting. Okay, so maybe I don't want that setting. Let's try canvas item. Let me read that description again. So viewport, the size of the root viewport is set precisely to things. The scene is rendered to this viewport first. the size of the root viewport. Okay, maybe that's just a 3D thing. I don't know, but okay, I might have to read more docs on stretch mode and viewports. Let's try this though. Does this fix our the ball doesn't spawn in the middle of the game? No. Okay, so the way we are calculating where the ball spawns is wrong. Where does that logic live? Is that inside of the ball script? So we get the viewport and we get its size. Returns the node's closest viewport ancestor if the node is inside a tree, otherwise returns null. So we get the size of the viewport. A viewport creates a different view into the screen or a subview inside another viewport. So the viewport class is an abstract base class for viewports. What does it mean? Let's go to the Godot docs. Maybe this section. Rendering, plugins, physics, math, inputs, 2D, viewports, introduction. Every canvas item node will reside in a canvas layer. Every canvas layer has a transform. Okay. Viewports have a stretch transform. It's used when resizing and stretching the window. Transform is used internally, can be set. So when I call get viewport, is recommended. Interesting. Yeah. The goal of this tutorial is to teach a way for feeding input events to the input with the position and the correct coordinate system. That sounds kind of close to what I need. Viewports. So, what is a viewport? Where is a viewport? Where's this debugger? Target object freed before starting. Boarding tweener. Is that a problem? I don't know. I want to look at that at some point. Position. It's get global transform times local position. Canvas coordinates. Position. Set of tools. Okay, so that's that. Canvas physics plugin rendering. Rendering is using viewports. 3D. For 2D, each viewport always contains its own world 2D. Sub viewport container, sub viewport, and then 3D stuff. Okay. I will need to learn more about 3D stuff in Godot at some point, but not right now. Multiple resolutions. Base size, yep. On this page, window refers to the screen area allotted to your game by the system, while viewport refers to the root object, which the game controls to fill the screen area. Okay, so everywhere we've been seeing the word viewport, we are simply talking about the root node, which is this thing that I've called main. Good to know. This viewport is a window instance. Sorry, what? On this page, window refers to the screen area. Viewport refers to the root object accessible from getTree.root, which the game controls to fill this. So, then not this, but the root. Right. So does that mean? Yeah, when we call getViewport, we are getting the root that is the thing that maybe is the parent of main. Is that a true statement? Interesting. One. Get tree dot things, lots of things, but there is a root. And so that is a window. The tree's root window. This is the topmost node of the scene tree and is always present. The absolute node path always starts from this node. Children of the root node may include the loaded current scene as well as any auto-loaded things. Okay, so this is not... The scene tree root is not that main node. But getViewport is getViewport the same thing as getTree.root, just with a different type? At least in this case. What properties does root have? Lots of things. It has a size. What is size? The window size in pixels. But I think this is the same thing as getViewport.size, so that's not going to get me anything different or special. The engine will never change the monitor's resolution on its own. Probably a good idea to not. True. Resizing. So yeah, let me revisit something really quick now that I have a little bit of terminology maybe down, right? So I was trying to figure out what the difference was between canvas items and viewport. So the base size specified in the width and height in the project settings is stretched to cover the whole screen. This means that everything is rendered directly at the target resolution. 3D is unaffected. Versus viewport, the size of the root's viewport is set precisely to the base size specified in the project settings display section. The scene is rendered to this viewport first, and that's scaled to fit the screen, taking into account aspect. So with viewport, there's essentially a render surface that's set at the resolution here, and then everything is rendered to that, and then that is scaled to the actual screen resolution of the window. Canvas item, the base size specified once the height in the project set is stretched to cover the whole screen. So it translates the coordinates of the viewport into screen coordinates and then renders to that. And then scale mode. Also determine the final scale factor for 2D elements. Fractional integer. Scale factor will be forwarded to an integer value, which means the screen size will always appear. Okay. So integer is what you want for pixel art. I feel like in terms of the coordinate issue, either of those things, I mean, we've already seen that they have the same behavior. That the center of the viewport is in screen pixels. And basically the ball doesn't get spawned into the center of the effectively world coordinates. And then they give you some guidelines here. Set base window size to the viewport size you intend to use. Set stretch window to viewport. Keep set stretch aspect to keep. Set it to integer. So lots of guidance here. So theoretically, the answer to the problem is to simply, so in the project settings, we have viewport width and height. Actually, I'm kind of confused because if the viewport is always that resolution, then when I run, it shouldn't matter what I do on the screen. The ball should spawn in the middle, right? So then if I resize, let it score, and it should spawn here. It always should spawn in the center, but it's not. And that's confusing to me. Let me look at the ball. Wait. Let's see. Transform. Position. It shouldn't matter. Like the script on ready starts a timer, and then when the timer elapses, it resets, which sets the position. Can we just like print that position so I can keep track of what's happening here? So that position, that start position of 576, 324 should be the same even when the screen is bigger, right? So if I restart, I go back to the console. So now the value is different. But it shouldn't be, because the viewport. I'm confused. Didn't we just set in the project? The mode is viewport. The size of the root viewport is set precisely to the base size specified in the project settings. Display section. So I don't get it. Get viewport size. Let's try a little bit of Googling, and then it's gonna be time for some lunch. Get viewport. Get viewport rect. Yeah, I would think so. Get viewport, get visible rect at size. I think maybe I caught it before the ads started. Let's see. Get viewport size just returns the actual viewport size. In this case, get viewport at give visible rect at size. And give viewport rect size are the same thing. This returns the size of the viewport. Size override will return that instead. Size override is set when viewport. Hey, thanks for the follow.
User0908 just followed.
Appreciate it. Hey, I'm doing well. I'm gonna be wrapping up here soon, I think, to get some lunch, but kind of want to figure out this whole situation with viewport scaling. I will be coming back to this next Sunday, and hopefully have some streams later this week, doing some video games, as in playing some video games, not making some video games. Canvas, interesting. So maybe I'm just using the wrong function. Maybe I should be using get viewport rect instead of size, like this. Maybe there's a different method. Hold on. What does get viewport rect return? Too many windows. What type of game am I making? It's just kind of a little practice game. This is my first game in Godot. It is a Pong game, as you can see here. So just a ball bounces back and forth. You move one paddle, the computer moves another paddle. It's pretty boring, but the idea is for me to learn about setting up a game project, setting up UI, just like the basics, right? And so I'm gonna have a few of these practice projects on these Sunday morning streams where I'm putting together things. And then I do have some actual real game ideas that we're gonna get to. I'm just, it's been a long time since I've done any kind of game dev, and I've only been learning Godot for a few weeks. So, we're gonna get there. Okay, so, get viewport erect it's not a thing here. Let me see if I search the docs. Okay, canvas item. Oh, it does have a size. Okay, so it's pretty close. So that might be the problem. It's just I called get viewport instead of get viewport rect. Let's exit the game. Yeah. I think it's I'm taking advice that I've given before, and I've heard of a lot of other people give before, of like learning game dev or learning tooling, make some simple projects with well understood mechanics and figure that out before you try to dive into like making your big project, right? So what's really nice is I found some nice resources online, like a nice background. Got a shader going on. I've been just using the placeholder texture for the paddle and the ball because I don't care. Let's restart. Now, hopefully the ball will spawn here in the center. Nope. Still broken. Okay. Well, I don't understand why, but I'm gonna figure that out in the next week. In the meantime, we're gonna find someone to go